I just picked random questions. Is the Earth flat? Here we go. I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this one, and I know for a fact people are just gonna scroll, but that's fine. Yes, it is. 100% it's flat. Matter of fact, 1,000% it's flat. Working for the Department of Navy, I can assure you it is definitely flat. The weaponry that we use, the technology that we have on the ships, all laser guided, trust me, wouldn't work on a ball. Let's just put it that way. It is a flat Earth plane. That's why you fly on an airplane, okay? You live on a plane, a flat plane. Just so you know, open up your Bible. It will tell you in the Bible that the Earth is stationary. It does not move, and it's flat. It's in the Bible. Go look it up.
I set my camera up out here on the running track, and my camera looked like this. This is what I had. I have a little roll of paper. Now the lens, as you can see, is very close to the surface, half an inch, and we're looking down a running track, 100 meters minimum. All right. So the camera is set up here, and the direction of travel of our people is this way. By the time people start to get down here, the shoes start going away entirely. So we're going to mostly observe this lady's shoe. The bottom of her shoe we'll call the hull of the ship, and then the top part, the gray part on the top of her shoe, could be the mast and the sails. This lens, obviously, in full-scale life, there's nothing as tall as these human beings, but when we consider the shoe to be a boat, that makes sense. I'm also going to point out what happens when people run around the running track on the bottom. The first thing you'll notice is they get covered up as far as almost their waist, and then by the time they get around here, they're almost concealed right up to their shoulders. And that's not just because of perspective, that's actually because of the grass. This grass is very well cut at the moment that I filmed this, but it's still taller than the plane of the running track, and it is adding a lot to obscuring the people as they run around the bottom of the track. When people first start to run around behind the grass, which begins about here, you can see that it almost looks like they're heading downhill because they're up to their waist around this position and then almost up to their shoulders by the time they're here. Now that's a lot of obfuscation over a flat surface. Zero curvature. Let's take a look. Boat is sailing away. Still see the white hull. We can still see the gray mast, and as you can see over here, people are up to their shoulders behind the grass. Look, waist high and getting up to their shoulders. That is more to do with the grass than perspective, but perspective is still a big part of it. Okay, let's pause her for a second now. We're just barely able to see the white. I'm not going to zoom in on this. We'll take a look at a few stills in a moment. Again, almost up to their waist at this point, but as she walks around, her shoes are now starting to go away. Just keep looking for those white flashes as she takes her steps. Still see it? But you're not seeing the very bottom of her shoes at this stage, you're just barely seeing some white. And eventually, her shoes will be completely obscured, even when she lifts them up to walk, as you can see with these guys as they run behind the grass at the end of the track. So her shoes are now gone, except for when she lifts her feet. Remarkable. There you go. All right, here we are inside the photo editor. I'm just going to click through these images. I've zoomed in quite a bit. That's why the image resolution is a little pixelated, but we'll be able to determine if we're seeing her shoe or not with more clarity here. So I've just taken a series of screenshots from the video, and I'll just click through it. So there's the first shot of her shoe. And again, we're watching this shoe here. We'll also keep an eye on these runners as they run around the bottom end of the track. And just to remind you, this is the grass. It's a tightly cut football field, but nonetheless, that grass is going to contribute quite significantly to blocking out the lower part of this image. And there's the next shot. So you can already see, if we look over here, this runner is up to his waist, concealed a lot by the grass. This guy too. Clicking on. Still see her shoe. You can still see her shoe. Again, we're still seeing the white shoe at the bottom of her leg there. Okay, two shoes, just barely, but quite a bit concealed. I think we're pretty much losing that shoe now. Legs only, except for the back of that shoe that's lifted. You definitely see that the bottom part of her legs, also known as her feet, are fully obscured by the angular resolution failing to resolve. Now as she goes around here, she's starting to get close to the grass. We're almost knee-high in concealment, and basically getting close to her waist here as she goes behind the grass. For the final shot, right up to her waist. So no doubt about it, this is ground-up obstruction due to angular resolution issues.
I showed Phil's physics, why things fall and float according to density, buoyancy, and electrostatics, and then I wanted him to prove the same thing, but using gravity. And this is what he did. And it's gonna, every time he discharges, it goes up. Every time he adds charge, it seeks up. It goes the wrong way, literally flip the polarity. Now, with a small object, you can add a negative charge to a small object and make it levitate up, because negative and negative repel, right?
Oh yeah, look, that's exactly what I predicted. Cool.
Drones.
Yeah.
They've got drones that use no moving parts of electrostatics to levitate. Now, can you do the same thing for gravity, please?
Gravity is only attracting.
Can you show me someone making something heavier with gravity, please?
Someone making something heavier with gravity? Sure. Here's a water bottle, okay? So here's water, okay? There's more water. What I did is I added more mass, and now it's heavier.
Are you the R word? Where did you isolate gravity and prove that was gravity?
Oh, wait, hold on. So how do you isolate gravity again? Tell me, since you know so well.
That's your claim. You claim that you can use...
No. Hold on. I never said I can isolate gravity.
So how did you prove gravity caused that then?
Because you added more mass. Hold on. So do you agree that hydrogen and oxygen are matter?
Yeah.
Okay, so more mass. Thanks.
So a helium balloon floats, right? You add more mass to a helium balloon and it floats, correct?
Holy fuck, dude.
You're a stupid dumbass.
Alright, flat earthers, there it is. This old map right here says it all. Follow now, because we're about to show you some craziness that all says flat earth. So we start off right here. You see where it says Circulo Antarctical, which means it circles everything, like our entire area. Now, here's another cool, crazy thing. When you zoom into the middle here, get a really close zoom in there. Incognito Landia, in the middle of our realm. Another interesting one. And then one more I'm going to share with you that I just found, because I'm still doing some research here and getting stuff translated. I'll show you more. But if you go over here where we have Africa, right? Check this out. What are these places? All these little islands. Looks like that says Artemis. Some other islands there. Some other islands here. Just really, really interesting. Anyways, I thought this was kind of cool and wanted to share it with you as I dive more into this map and this entire book. Lots of maps here to go over. So please, like, follow, and share. And let me know what you think in the comments.
So if you'd walk into a hospital and you were feeling unwell in the late 1800s, they'd wrap you in linen sheets, give you water out of a copper cup, and they would give you royal jelly. And if you actually look back at documents from the 1800s, royal jelly was the original multivitamin. They would give this to the patients that came in feeling unwell, and within hours they would feel miraculously better because of how many nutrients were in the royal jelly that it was then feeding their body. And then combining this with the copper cup and the linen sheets, they'd overcome that illness in essentially hours. And that's actually one of the main reasons why you've probably never heard of royal jelly, because this was the original honey. It had over 10 times the nutrients regular honey had, and their profits didn't like that in the medical industry. So they pulled royal jelly out, completely hidden it, and then Rockefeller, as we know, switched the pharmaceutical industry from natural to then petroleum-based medication, which is now what you see everywhere in medicine cabinets and doesn't actually heal the body like the royal jelly and linen sheet.